Sarah Carter Bailey es una periodista y política de Estados Unidos. Actualmente es la directora de la Oficina de Política Nacional para el Control de Drogas pues del gobierno de Donald Trump. Esta señora dio una entrevista muy interesante al programa de Epoch Times, en donde ella habla sobre el problema de las drogas que está enfrentando Estados Unidos, cómo lo están combatiendo ellos también desde adentro, porque muchos han criticado en México que Estados Unidos no hace nada para atacar el fenómeno de aquel lado, pero ella, pues, desde su perspectiva está señalando que sí se está trabajando. Tanto es así que bajaron de 118,000 muertes anuales por fentanilo a 68,000, que todavía siguen siendo un número pues bastante alto. Pero miren, escuchemos a qué se refiere esta señora sobre Claudia Sheinbaum, que no tiene malas palabras para ella, como se ha manejado en algunas redes sociales. Al contrario, se expresa bien, pero también manda un mensaje de advertencia a todas las naciones que están trabajando con el tema del narcotráfico para afectar a Estados Unidos.
Taking and seizing their financing. And by the way, doing what we're doing right now in Mexico, targeting those even in the government that have sold out to the cartels, that have made it easier for them to operate, you know, getting those extradition, those warrants on them, and working closely with our counterparts like we do with President Sheinbaum, for example. We saw significant progress in Mexico, especially with El Mencho, with CJ&G, when we were able to go after El Mencho. And we did that through our intelligence, but utilizing the Mexican National Guard, the Mexican Special Forces, you know, General Trevilla, his operation. They cooperated with us. We said, look, here's the information. Go get them. And they did. And we'd never seen that before. Not like that. Not in that same way. Not with that cooperation. And by the way, right now, you know, targeting the folks in Sinaloa, all of the government officials that are part of the Culiacan clan, you know, that have protected the Sinaloa cartel, and Los Chapitos and Los Maitos, and, you know, Joaquin Guzman's, you know, entire operation, El Chapo's entire operation. We are able to do that. One, because the Mexican government, like many of the governments in our hemisphere, know that President Trump means what he says. He just absolutely does. If he said, we are going after you, if you do not cooperate with us, we are going to target you, and you are going to regret it. So do you want to cooperate? Yes or no? And I think also, beyond that, it's what's good for them. And they know it too. They're their own sovereign nations, and they understand, and I think they've understood for some time, that being government officials that really want to clean out the system, right? That really want to get to some point where their own countrymen aren't reliant on the movement of drug financing, but reliant on their own economic futures of prosperity for their people. And they're seeing that now, and they're seeing that opportunity, and they trust that President Trump and this administration will not abandon them, that we will see it through. And we know where these precursor chemicals are coming from, and that it will not be tolerated, and that we will continue to hold anybody and everyone, and even nation states, accountable for the deaths of our children. President Trump has made that very clear. And I promise that I will continue, and I have made that promise both in our national drug control strategy and openly, without hesitation, that I will never be afraid to speak up and hold those actors accountable that are killing our kids. It is absolutely unacceptable. You're right. It is unrestricted warfare. It is unrestricted warfare. There are ways of targeting a nation without ever lifting up what we can consider an obvious weapon. So I know that, and I've made it very clear in our national drug control strategy that our focus is going to be a clean supply chain from origination to destination.